Going on, guys? Jet fan here. Scharnhorst on the screen. Little Celiax is my Scharnhorst commander, and we're just going to look at some numbers with Celiax on there. Note slot 1. We use the AA. Gives the AA boost to 72. Again, not good, but improves it, especially with the world of German carriers now. Those AP bombs hit German battleships pretty hard. Pretty well armored and almost a non-existent citadel. So, one thing I'd like to point out on this Scharnhorst, this ship is vulnerable on the bow. So, when you get up tiered and you're fighting against tier 7 ships, and even honestly tier 6s as well, that top part of the bow can be overmatched. Do not think that you can just point bow in and you will ricochet and be able to tank all that damage and not, sustain some. So that's one thing I want to point out. Scharnhorst is a good ship. It's a good premium ship. I don't love the fact that it's only got the 11 inchers on there. And you see here I spear a friendly teammate. It's a good way to start a match off. The thing about Gneisenau, we just took a shot at the Gneisenau. The thing about Scharnhorst is when you're playing her, you have to realize what she is. She's not, against enemy battleships, going to be able to deal raw damage that's pure alpha strike and can dominate. You have your 20-second reload with this build, okay? You have that benefit, and obviously with Celiax, I get 5 heals, which is huge because with this build, you're going to track damage, okay? As long as you can put yourself in a position where you can give yourself something similar to what I call like a cooldown, where basically you're going to get in your heavy engagement, you're going to take your damage, you're going to pull back for a half second if you can, and you're going to try to heal some of that back before you go and re-engage. One of the key factors to me about Scharnhorst is you have the torpedo threat, but don't always rely on the torpedo threat. In other words, you don't have to charge suicidally, right? Do a suicide torp run and get yourself killed in order to try to get some torpedoes off. You see 5K there in New Mexico. That's about what to expect, honestly. Unless you're up close and you can aim to that upper part of the hull, and then you can really hit people hard with some damage. But, Pensacola sitting out there broadside, this is a shot that normally would hit, and it does. Okay, there's the first blood. Pensacola's down. These 11 inchers absolutely rip apart cruisers. So, the good and the bad, right? You may not be the most devastating damage dealer against battleships, but cruisers, you are an absolute nightmare to handle. So, those ships that are going to throw fire at you, i.e. HE spam, you are in a very good position to counter those ships with the way that the guns on the Scharnhorst interact. One thing I also want to point out about Scharnhorst is the fact that the speed is pretty good and the rudder is also decent. Though it's like 11 and change on the rudder shift in my numbers. Feel free to go back and look at some of those as need be. But there is some, agility here with Scharnhorst that you don't necessarily get with other battleships. You're not going to get it with a lot of other battleships at tier 6 and tier 7, etc. So you see here I'm kind of in a tough position here. I want to basically flank this whole area because if I can put pressure on this flank, that'll collapse this flank. And basically we'll guarantee our team the A cap, which means we're going to be up 3 caps to 1 and basically starting to close these guys out. So I end up deciding that I'm not going to go after the Lyon. I'm going to go after the British Nelson here, the York, the German York, Japanese Nagato. And so you see there, I know that Nelson's weak on the nose. The reason why I know that is because I play Nelson a lot, and if you go look into the port and you look at the armor scheme, you'll notice that Nelson on the bow is very weak and is very susceptible. So the way this guy's angling is actually probably... He's getting a little too much meat, but it's probably the best way to angle in this thing. So you see here, I'm not trying to sail around this corner. I threw the brakes on a little bit. I'm trying to bide my time. What I want to do here is I want them to think that I'm going to push around this corner. I want them to be concerned about my presence and try to angle against me. You see York right here. He's getting a little aggressive. He's coming around the corner. Send the torpedoes out his way. I have it in full reverse here. I'm trying to wait for him to pop out. And these are devastating guns against cruisers. So this York, I don't know if he just kind of drifted a little too far because it doesn't look like he's looking at me. Now, I don't know if that's also a strategy that he's trying to bait me into, but I don't think it is because he's going to eat the torps. He's going to go down there for a second sinking up to 39,000 damage. And you see here, at this point, now that we took that York out, we don't have the torpedo threat, and we pull forward because we're anticipating torpedoes, and sure as heck, what comes around the corner? York torpedoes. This Nagato, we're going to catch him, right? We're going to catch him a little bit here. Now, this here is the difference between a ship like, say, Gneisenau, which, if we want to get real serious, I like more than Scharnhorst. And I'll explain a little bit of the differences here coming up. But Nagato pulls out, and we end up aiming a little bit upper belt. And the reason why we're aiming slightly upper belt is because of what the shell characteristics for these 11 inches are. They don't have the power and the thumping ability to penetrate the bow, so we have to aim a little bit higher. And teammate there takes out that Nagato before he can get on the salvo off on us. So we have a double fire here. We put it out. We pop the heel. We're going to heal a decent chunk of this back. Okay, and again, we're aiming right on that bow. We get 6 ricochets. So even with the weak bow, you're gonna, you see Scharnhorst struggles to do consistent damage there. So when we send 3 torpedoes, we send that out, and I'm trying to get those last guns to pop off, but they don't. So you see now at this point, I'm going to keep my back relatively well angled. I'm going to take a wicked salvo there, but I'm going to end up killing Nelson. Down goes Nelson. There's the high caliber up to 121,000 damage. Now I'm going to sail out this Gneisenau. I know Gneisenau's got torpedoes. I got the 11-second rudder. I'm going to try to utilize that as much as possible. I know my torpedoes on my right side are going to come back first. So on my starboard side are going to be coming back first. I'm getting now focused by the carrier. I'm not worried about the carrier as much as possible here. I'm more concerned about my brawl with the Gneisenau. So at this point, I'm turning back to my left. I got 10 seconds left in my heel. We get a fire on Gneisenau. And Gneisenau, I think, was able to put that out. Let's see here. And this should do it. Oh, nope. Nelson was able to take out the enemy Gneisenau. So good play there. So you see kind of how this Scharnhorst plays when you get into that right situation, into that kind of pushing, aggressive situation where you can basically go out and dominate close quarters engagements. So Rujo there pops up. We're going to end up winning this one. This is a steamroll here. But I just kind of wanted to highlight this because it shows what some of the strengths are of Scharnhorst when you put yourself into that position. I'm going to have a Gneisenau video coming out, and we're going to kind of compare and contrast and talk about Scharnhorst versus Gneisenau, strengths, weaknesses of both ships, where my preference lies, etc. But there you go, 131,000. We ended up getting 3 sinkings, 2,200 base XP. You like the video, leave it a like. We will see you guys out on the high seas.